Good evening. My name is Alexis Simpson, and tonight I'm going to give you a speech about my best and my worst experience as a public speaker, and to also give you a self-evaluation on how I feel as a public speaker. I would like to begin by just introducing myself and what I do. I am a registered nurse at a local emergency room. I've been a nurse for 5 years, and my goal is to achieve my Bachelor's of Science in Nursing, and that's why I'm taking this class. I would also like to remind the audience that, when you go to a restaurant and they tell you, not to get nasty with the waitress, don't send your food back, that also applies to nurses, because we do pick your catheter size and your needle size. My best experience as a public speaker actually happened last year. I had the opportunity to go to my daughter's 4th grade career day and got to present my career to 4 different 4th grade classes. I came into the school, had my scrub uniform on, I had some medical equipment, and I also had a PowerPoint slideshow with some pictures of the ER. I felt like it went really well because the kids were really interactive with me. They had lots of questions, and I got some great feedback, which I would like to share with you tonight. So I got 2 letters. First one says, "Dear Ms. Simpson, thank you for teaching me all about the ER. I bet you never get to sit down until you get home," which is true. One time, my dad had to call the hospital 2 times. Reason number 1 is when my sister was little, she stopped breathing. And number 2, my mom was carrying my sister down the steps and slipped and fell. And my sister flew out of my mom's arms and her elbow popped out. My mom fell on her back, but she was fine. But we had to get to the hospital 2 times. And that was from Brianna. Second letter says, "Dear Mrs. Simpson, thank you so much for coming to Career Day at our school. Everything you said was so interesting, and I couldn't pick one thing to talk about. Sincerely, Noah." And this says, "P.S. My mom doesn't like mucus either." And what this feedback showed me was I was an effective speaker when the kids mentioned, their own ER experiences. They told me they were interested in maybe becoming a nurse or a doctor. So I felt like they were listening and asked really good questions. And if you remember, one of the kids said, "P.S. My mom doesn't like mucus either." It was in reference to one of my main points was that I can stand blood, vomit, poop, but mucus is not my thing. My worst experience as a public speaker happened when I was probably 11 or 12. I had an opportunity to speak to the congregation at my church about a recent missions trip. I had recently just done like a dance performance and came up to the mic. And at that point, I just kind of froze. I was out of breath from the dance, so I couldn't speak clear. And just the overall intimidation of the congregation made me really nervous. So that kind of sticks out in my mind as one of my worst experiences. My own self-evaluation as a public speaker at this time, I would have to put it on a numerical scale from 0 to 10, 10 being the best. I would have to say a 6. I feel pretty comfortable in front of people, but there's always room for improvement. I still get nervous, but mainly my main concern would be that I know what I'm talking about. I have something to back up what I'm saying if somebody questions me. But some of the ways I could improve that is to make sure I do my research, study ahead of time, practice my speeches, and don't procrastinate. So again, my name's Alexis, and I am happy to have shared with you my best and worst experience, and hope to improve a lot with this class.